visiting Bailee Bob's Boneyard, where we're all about barkers, blood, books, boxes, and burps. Today I'm going to be reviewing the horror movie Final Destination. It's a movie that was released in 2000, directed by James Wong, starring Devon Sawa and Ali Larder. So Final Destination is about a group of high school kids. They have a trip to Paris, and one of the kids, his name is Alex, he has this premonition where he sees that the airplane is going to explode. So he freaks out, he gets off the plane, and a few of the students follow him. And it turns out that he was right, the airplane explodes, and because he cheated death, death follows him and the rest of the people that got off the airplane and starts to kill them one by one in weird ways, in the same order that they were supposed to die. Now I'm going to go into the details of the deaths, so that will include spoilers. If you would like to watch this movie first, now would be a good time to stop this video or skip to the end. If not, you can keep watching and I'm gonna tell you what happens in it. So in the premonition of the airplane, it explodes, the walls come off, and the airplane seats fly out the window with people in them. And the explosion, the fire from it, goes to Alex's face and it melts his face, and that's when he wakes up. The first real death, that's not a premonition, is by Todd. He's in his bathroom and there's water on the floor, and the water follows him until he finally steps on it and he slips and he falls into the bathroom, and there's this wire that I believe he's using as a clothesline, and he falls and the wire wraps around his neck, and since it's a really thin wire, it really digs into his skin, and it's really cuts in there and cuts off his circulation. He's choking, he can't get his fingers around it because it's a wire, and you can see at one point his eyes go poof, and they completely bloodshot and they're all red until he finally dies. The next death is by the high schooler Terry. She's talking to her group of friends about everything, complaining, arguing, and she's walking backwards while she's talking, arguing with them. And because she's walking backwards, she doesn't see that there's a bus coming, and it goes, hits her, completely smashes her. Her blood splatters all over her friends' faces, so they're blood soaked now, and she's dead. The next death is a really fun one. This one's the most bloody one, and it's the one that stands out in my memory very well. It's the teacher that got off of the airplane. She's in her kitchen, and she puts vodka in her coffee, which is important to know because vodka is flammable. Her coffee mug cracks and leaks, and it gets onto the computer, which sparks and explodes and sends shards into her neck. Then a fire happens, again, because of the flammable substance that just caused the computer to explode. So her whole house is on fire. She grabs a shard and pulls it out of her neck, which now it's dripping and super bloody. And she's on the floor, reaching up for a towel, but there are knives on it. So when she pulls it, the knives fall and they stab her. Alex, the student, his premonitions are continuing to happen, so he knows that death is after them, and he knows that she's next. So he goes to her house, he goes inside to try to help her. Another explosion happens that shoves a chair onto her, which shoves the knives in even deeper. And I guess he's stupid because he grabs a knife, which you don't do. If you're ever in this situation, you leave the object in, because if you pull it out, they're gonna bleed more. They're gonna bleed profusely. You need to wait for the professionals to deal with it. You're supposed to keep it in there so that they don't bleed out. He doesn't know that, I guess. So he pulls it out and she dies. He drops it. He runs out of the house and it explodes. She's dead. The next one had a little bit of a teaser death in it. They make you think something's gonna happen, but then something totally random happens. They're in their car and they stop on a train track and a train is coming at them. And you think that that's how they're gonna die. Carter is stuck. His seatbelt won't undo. So it looks like that's how he's gonna die. But instead, Alex rips his seatbelt and pulls him out, and he's saved. So you think everything's all good, like, oh, they're out of the car, the train hit the car, they're good. But then out of nowhere, this metal scrap, this metal shard, the wind picks up, the wind from the train, whatever, swooshes it, and it goes to Billy, decapitates him, and his head falls off. And he was the next one to die instead of Carter. Because of the way that it skipped Carter, because Carter was supposed to be next, and then it went to Billy, for some reason that made them think, oh, okay, well, we're done now, Death's not gonna try to kill us anymore. So they go to Paris. At the very end, there's construction work happening that goes badly, and this large neon sign falls over and smashes them, and it kills Carter. It doesn't say what happens to Alex. That is something that we don't find out about until the second Final Destination, which I will review in a future video. The main horror elements are supernatural and blood and gore. I say supernatural because not that there's ghosts, but because of Death being a character that they talk about. To me, it feels like Death is a supernatural character and a supernatural paranormal force that is being dealt with, that's killing them. So that's why I think that that's one of the big elements. And then blood and gore, obviously, because of how weird and bloody and obnoxious the deaths are, like decapitation and bloody knives and being strangled, all that stuff. On my blood scale, I give this 4 pints of blood out of 5 because it was very bloody, lots of blood, but not quite a 5 because a lot of the deaths weren't bloody at all. The one where he was strangled, his eyes burst and became red, but they didn't actually bleed. The decapitation, his head falls off, but blood didn't really squirt out. It wasn't really that bloody. The bloodiest one was definitely the teacher death with the knives, so that's why I give it a 4. I think that my cat agrees with me. She thinks that it gets a 4 as well. All right. If you've seen Final Destination and you like this movie, let me know in the comments what you think about it and what you thought about my review. And if you have any other suggestions, if there's a different horror movie you'd like me to review, please leave it in the comments. That would be greatly appreciated. And as always, if you liked this, give it a thumbs up and share and subscribe. And I'll see you next time at Bailee Bob's Boneyard. There's a hair on my lip. I got it. Do I look super hairy now?